Welcome everybody to this edition of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong, along with Jaquari and Damon Armstrong. We are brothers, and we here on this stage tonight to ask you, whose house runs how? No. Welcome everybody. Appreciate y'all. Um, listen, what we pride ourselves on, and it took us a long time because all three of us went through. I'm gonna use Damon's word, a maturation process of why we're doing the podcast, where we at, who we are in the podcast. And the thing about it is, all you have to do is go back and look at each and every show and see that each show that we've done has been a special show. Folks who come on for the first time have been able to open up like they've never had before. See, that's what's special to me. So I'm being selfish about it. So I'm good. You know what I mean? My brothers have their own reasons of being on this podcast and doing this platform. And I'm here to support them either way. You feel what I'm saying? And if y'all heard somebody screaming in the background, that's my wife because she wants to be a star. But the thing about it is, I love this podcast because we promote conversation. And I like to think it's meaningful conversation because when I'm just here with Damon and Jaquari, right, we talk about how we see the world. And we need that more than anything. Folks need to be able to communicate how they see the world, not how the group sees the world, not how their favorite star sees the world or their favorite actor, favorite doctor, favorite comedian, favorite sports guy see the world. It's how they see the world because when you break it down to an individually, when you have your own way of seeing things, you're able to navigate your landscape. And then you'll be blessed enough in the great deal of situations, you'll be blessed enough to do what? To find your peace. To find your peace. So a little bit of house cleaning before I go to the brothers, before I go to the stars of the episode. House cleaning, this Strong Perspective Podcast. What we will really appreciate that you do is go to our YouTube channel, check out all the wonderful episodes on there, and also like, share, and subscribe. Especially share and especially subscribe. Because if you're patient enough, if you're driving a long trips, punch us in. If you're driving a long trip, I understand that this is the this is the time of the quick burst. Oh man, my titty popped out. And that's entertainment, right? And I'm being funny about it, but the point I'm trying to make is, you know how you listen to audiobooks and long trips? Listen to Strong Perspective Podcast. You'll get a lot out of it. With that being said, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. We're going to have a great show tonight. Jaquari, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. I had a fairly good day. Got some work done, working from home and everything, and just getting ready to decompress, man, and and share some things and share my opinion.
No doubt. Damon, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. Your boy been down for the last 2.5 weeks, man. So I had to put things in perspective, and be on the mend and at the same time be aware,
Okay.
and I'm ready to make this happen, man. Let's talk, let's kick it, man, like we always do.
No doubt. Excuse me. So if you blessing us enough to listen and to be watching us on Facebook Live and also live on our YouTube channel, please comment. Today's episode really is based on questions. I put it out on Facebook. What are the questions that you guys would like for us to address on the episode? We got 4.5 questions, and we like to address everything. Now, if you want to talk about something like why is Pluto purple, we ain't got no purple Pluto experts on here. You feel what I'm saying? But when it comes to the humanistic, humans, people, we can give your opinion about how we feel about what you're saying. So be my guest and hop on board, comment, go into the comments, ask us the questions, then we're gonna go from there. I think that's fair. What y'all think, guys?
Fair enough.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? Me personally, I even invite the criticism.
No
You
doubt.
know, if I say something and you really, really want to call me on my bullshit, then call me on my bullshit because I can handle it. I'm not gonna say it if I don't stand on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how I feel about that is
I,
don't ask if you don't want to know.
yeah, and I'm like, if you want to criticize me, make sense. Don't just throw it out there because your foot hurt. You know what I'm saying? Or you had a long day. You know, even if you had a long day and your foot hurt, let it be interesting, please. Give us that. Please give us that. You know what I'm saying?
Here's a caveat. I know when your foot hurt because you keep adjusting that foot, and you're fidgeting, and you got an opinion.
Yes, sir. Jaquari,
Mm-hmm.
before we get into the question, last night you went to go see Dave Chappelle. Now, it's up to you whether or not you want to volunteer this, but talk to us about your experience at Dave Chappelle. And Damon, please chime in once he's done.
I was excited, man. You know, because like over the last 2-3 years, you know, he's been into this, been into that. He said this, said that, and you know, he's created a lot of buzz, a lot of controversy. You know, in regards to his content. And now, don't get me wrong, I didn't expect to just pop up at a random DC show and have him say something that was just virally amazing or whatever. You know, I didn't expect that at all. But it just his performance in particular, it just kind of left me flat.
Gotcha.
You know, I don't know if I was telling Damon about the guy who went on before him, right before him, Ashley Larry.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his real name, but he's been doing comedy for a while too, and he was. I mean, he killed it. He killed it. Absolutely killed it. The guy before him, the first guy that came on, I didn't recognize. You know, I didn't really recognize his name. He was active. You know, very very entertaining, and I'm not saying that Dave wasn't entertaining, but
I was
like I
expecting
said,
that motherfucker to be funny. No.
yeah, I mean, you know, but and I don't, you know, not that I mention it, I don't really, I can't really say that that's a fair assessment because you know what do I, you know, what did I expect him to do? But you know, it's a difference. It's a difference in sitting in an auditorium with with fellow fans and feeding off of that energy, man. And then sitting down, in the bathroom watching them on YouTube, excerpts or whatever. It's a difference. It really is. So
You mean he helped you with your log, huh? Damon, what you think, brother?
I think, man, what I'm getting from Corey, man, is that he wanted to be entertained. I don't know if he was being political or being very opinionated. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably not what you were expecting. You wanted to be, you know what I'm saying? Because this man, he had been doing comedy since he was 14 years old. So he got 100 years of material. You know what I'm saying? But if it's about cancer culture and it's about taking a stand on something, maybe that might be something that's a turn off to you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, but that, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I didn't have any expectation of that. It's like I said. I mean, lately we hadn't heard anything about any controversies or anything, and so that being said, I didn't really expect to hear anything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I did want to hear some funny shit, and Nikki enjoyed it. It was a part it was a part of her birthday package. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it served
I,
that purpose, but
I'll be honest with you. I talked to Damon and Jaquari about this before we came online. What I always liked about Chappelle is he's a funny asshole. And after Jaquari pointed this out, Jaquari Damon pointed this out. After he lost that, he gave up that 50 million. He became better at being a funny asshole. He became a great communicator. You feel what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
And I
Uh,
know this
uh,
is my opinion now. I'm not saying that should stick to him, but that's my opinion about him. So when I watch him, that's what I watch him about. Like this, I gave this up. Now this is the energy that I received from him. I gave all this up for my artistic integrity. So I need y'all to listen. And when he talked to us in a low monotone voice, and we know his history, he makes us want to listen. And he becomes, like I said, I've loved his comedy because he's always been an asshole. And he's always made that funny, right? And as he's gotten older, he became a great communicator, period.
he's a great advocate. He's a great advocator. I mean, because even with him walking away from the 50 million and all that, and taking that 10 year hiatus, and
Yeah.
coming back and everything, that was and ultimately, yeah, this is his job, this is his livelihood. But at the end of the day, all that stuff was for him. It wasn't like he was out, trying to make a better way for black people.
Well,
He
I
didn't
mean,
say it. Yeah, it
I agree.
didn't it?
I
Yeah,
agree.
I mean,
What you think, Damon?
even
You agree with that?
I don't think that was his goal per se. I think his goal was to be able to speak his mind and have an opinion and not be canceled.
Good point.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
that's what I'm saying. The only entertainers can be canceled. Human
But
beings can't be canceled.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. If he take on that challenge, then he gonna have adversity coming from all different directions. You know what I'm saying? And what's left is entertaining a crowd that's in the venue that you're at. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not there for the political stuff. You know what I'm saying? They want to laugh, have a good time. Like my brother Jacoy said, I took my wife out. It was a part of her birthday package, and we want to laugh and have a good time. We don't want to hear about the things that your opinion about the political stuff. We don't want to hear that because we have our own opinions. You know what I'm saying? We respect your bravery, and not caring about being canceled. But when the person is paying good money, you know what I'm saying, the expectation is to laugh and have a good time, and you know what I'm saying, and have a good memory. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You'll get up there and smoke a cigarette and talk about the world events and stuff like that, and nobody's laughing because you're on your soapbox.
And that he was doing the comedy that he's successful at right now is what he is doing after he came from South Africa. Like when he started just doing regular stand up, right? What we see now, this is what he was doing, and he was not receiving the same accolades that he's doing now. It's just after Netflix, and he gained momentum, like he wasn't stopping, right? The last both you guys give me 2 last quick comments. Then we're gonna go to K. I don't know if y'all seen KJ's comments, but I want you guys to address them.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
Jaquari.
You know, I've been to comedy shows before, you know, and I was definitely entertained. And I guess I don't know what it was. I guess his demeanor and his delivery and his subject matters or whatever kind of came off as not that he wasn't trying or anything like, but he was just trying, you know, just trying to hang out. You know, give me something with a punchline, man. You know, I can't deal with a goddamn 15-minute, you know, setup for you know, for a really good punchline.
I just want to laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to be there and be, you know, and laugh and be entertained and shit. I mean, that, you know, shit. If I want to think and be conscious, I'll read a fucking book. I got books. Like,
Damon.
Yeah, and 100 people with an opinion about it, huh?
Yes, sir.
Damon,
go ahead.
For me, man, I just let a person do what they do. You know what I'm saying? If they have an agenda and I'm able to understand where they're coming from, then I'm not offended so much. But if I spend money like my brother did, then, you know, I have an opinion about it. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you're on your soapbox and you come in and you got people that's in the venue wanting to be entertained and you crying about being canceled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you are being selfish.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that whole crusade was self-directed. I mean, it's.
I mean,
and that's his right. That's entirely his right.
To me, comedians and actors are some of the most intelligent people when it comes to manipulation of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think actors are chameleons. That's why I call them intelligent. They can take on a role and become something. Comedians can feel the energy of the crowd. Great comedians I'm talking about can feel the energy of the crowd and convince these people that they are funny. That takes a high amount of intelligence to me.
I agree.
Damon, I'm going to read this, and I need you and Jaquari to chime in. Hey, friend of the show, our boy,
What's
KJ
going on,
Jones,
brother?
West Coast brother, New York, East Coast, West Coast brother. That's what it is. Originated in New York, the man, and he's out West Coast doing his thing. This is KJ. KJ says, how do y'all feel about young people ages 19 through 30, black, white, Asian, and whatever? Wondering if y'all agree with me that for the most part, many, not fewer, don't have the focus and attention to detail and work ethic that most of our demographic had at the same age. They want everything, but don't want to put the work and earn. It's disappointing, and I'm sorry I didn't ask when you put the call out, but hella busy this week. Now look at you. You want the big timers, KJ. This a television personality. You know what I'm saying? Our guy. Stop that.
I ain't have a
hella
lot of
busy
time,
this week.
so
I ain't
I
really
told
got time, but I got you
bones.
now, my man. No.
Yeah.
So what do you think? We'll start with you, Damon. What do you think?
What I think, man, it's easy, man, to get into a mindset that people as a whole think this way because those are the things that's being promoted out there, man. They want us to believe that our young people are not focused. They want us to believe that our young people are not grinding. You know what I'm saying? If you look at all three of our houses, our kids did that. They grind. You know what I'm saying? Can y'all recall the times when they came home and they was like, "Hey man, I'm struggling right now, and I just need some advice or some peace of mind." That's not paying attention.
Gotcha.
That's focusing on their life and making things happen. Now, is there a certain segment out there in the population that feels that way? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Do I judge them for it? I can't, because being a man who's going to be 58 this month, I realize that there's a certain time, man, where you get it, where you understand. You know, growing up, you go through the motions and you go through all these different processes, maturation processes, or whatever, and then you get it. You know what I'm saying? But because how things are now, man, you are able to reach and communicate and see everything that's happening in the world, man. We are watching people who are going through their own personal struggles and making that mainstream, and it's really not. You're not gonna get it until you get into your 30s. And I think that's the message that we have to teach everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is what you go through. That's your situation. You learn from that. That's a learning stage. You know what I'm saying? With back in the ancient Egypt or whatever, you could not be a priest until you were like 36 years old. You could not preach to the people until you was in your mid 30s. Everything that happens from that point backwards, man, is just experiences that you have and the conclusions that you come to formulate an opinion and have something to stand on. 19 to 30, what are they standing on, man? What are they standing on? You know what I'm saying? Because life happens as long as you keep living. Life happens. We praise the people that get it at an early age. And there are examples for everybody else. And oftentimes they're ostracized. But at the end of the day, everybody that we know collectively, man, don't we all finally get it? Except for the ones that's hard headed and that's vindictive. You know what I'm saying? And don't learn from their shit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
From slavery up to this point, most of us learned from shit, man.
Yeah.
You know, don't focus on in those news reels where the sister come up and they ain't got no front teeth and she talking about what it is that you thought happened. You know what I'm saying? And that becomes a meme and that becomes a joke. But in the background, our kids are taking care of business.
Yeah. I get
For the
it.
most part,
I'm with you. The core.
it's a situation where, man, it's history repeating itself, man. I mean, if you are blessed to have your parents still, with you, and you're around our age, early 50s to late 50s or whatever, and you can have a conversation with them about what their opinions were about us when we were 19 to 30 years old, I'm quite sure it'd probably be the same. It'd probably match up, maybe not as extreme, because with the advancement of time and technology and the world, as a whole, obviously opinions are going to harden with time. So yeah, we uh we hold our children and our young folks in the same regard as our parents held us. Like I said, it's just a little bit more extreme because of the times. You know, the world is round for a reason. Everything comes back around. Everything comes back around. Just like
Mm-hmm.
just like with them, they're victims of trying to live up to all the stories they heard about the old heads when they was coming up. Doesn't matter if there was family members or street figures or whatever. They was looking for somebody to emulate. Exactly the same case with us. You know,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
and a lot of cases, man. We got lucky uh, with our role models, but I don't know if we're necessarily providing that same atmosphere for our young people.
I get it. And this is one of because KJ asked all three of us, I'm gonna chime in on this. What I think is the simple fact is this: you and Jaquari are absolutely right, man. But the thing about it is, there are many, many other choices and examples of the bad choices winning because we get caught up in social media. Our children, our young folks do. When I say young folks, I'm talking about from 32 all the way down. They caught up on what they see on their smartphone, right? Some of it's good because it's information. Man, imagine if we received the kind of information that these young folks are receiving with the mindset we had, because what we were taught by our parents and by our grandparents and aunts and uncles was the grind. It is a fight to go to work. Work is fight. Work is going out here and grabbing everything you got. You ain't got time to look back unless your character asks you to look back. Unless that's who you are as a human being. Like, yo, I'm achieving this. Me and Damon had a conversation about our cousin, right? And as Damon was talking to me about our cousin, I said to myself, he's so worried about what Damon thinks about him that he has to prove himself to himself. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because a lot of times when we confront people about who we are, even when we're in the right, what we're doing is trying to convince ourselves. This is my opinion. We're trying to convince ourselves, right, that we are who we feel we are. I don't know if y'all getting that, but that's the truth.
Absolutely.
I think
Like,
that. Go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead, Bill.
I think, man, that there's certain aspects of a person's life that they ain't not gonna understand, man. They're not
Good
gonna
point.
get. You know what I'm saying? And then the emotions come about, and then you have a choice to either lash out or say, you know what, I don't need to touch that because it doesn't affect me. And what I need to do is focus on what I've been doing, because in that situation I see a certain amount of success. It's going to be ongoing, man. It's not going to change, man, because especially as African American, and I rarely use that word. I used to say black men, black women, but especially in that situation, man, we see that every aspect of our life is a challenge that we have to overcome on a daily basis. That's not being a victim. That's not making excuses. It's just what our life is. Now you got whole groups of people. You know what I'm saying? For example, you got people, man, who sit around and say, "Man, I hate the woke culture," but when it benefits them, they want to cancel people. They want to cancel people, and it's like, man, there's a hypocrisy there. And then what did they do? They bring up the same arguments that you brought up to them to try to justify, even though they was going against you. So for me, in my mindset, it's like I can't deal with these type of people, man. I can't deal with them because they have no integrity. If you have integrity, you would not use. If you see a situation where a person needs to be canceled, but you argue with me that you hate the cancel culture, you have no integrity, man. Because you are willing to switch your shit up to make your point in real time. But when I explained it to you, the only reason why you were able to come up with that explanation is because some part of what I was saying reached your ass. But because you want to be political and you want to be more than what you are, you use these different situations to argue, do whatever, And at the end of the day, you look foolish because you're contradicting yourself. And that is where the argument lies. A person contradicting themselves based on the argument that was had in the past, and then they come and they're using your arguments. That's not a rational thinking person. There's no integrity there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they call prospective employees and say, don't hire this kid who took out loans, who struggled through college to get a degree and all that stuff. And you want to say, because they have an opinion about something, you want to cancel them, even though you are against the cancel culture. How do you deal with a person like that? Who's able to jump back and forth or use the argument that you use against them just to be right on some old weak argument. And then when you look at what's happening now, these people who have everybody's ear trying to cancel young people, our future. You have no integrity and you have no rationale in your argument, maybe because you contradict yourself every time you open your mouth up. So how do you know what I'm saying? There's no way to reconcile that situation. There's no way to reconcile it because you're dealing with irrational people. So therein lies the people who are focused and who are trying to maintain and make things happen. You have to navigate the dumb shit, is my point. If that makes sense to you. You're on mute, bro. You're on mute, Keith.
I'm sorry. Corey, before we move on, you have a comment?
I don't.
Be professional, Keith. Be professional.
No, you making faces and shit. I'm like, what are you trying to do, brother?
I didn't know I was on mute. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. I don't have no comment.
Okay. KJ has thanked both you guys for your insights, man. KJ is
Appreciate
a friend
you, bro.
of the podcast. Great brother. Man, I'm telling you. Not low-key. I was going to say low-key famous. No, he's famous. He's famous in the white world.
I told you, I got there's a couple dudes I know the rest stuff that he wrote. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And you know, the thing about it is I feel, and I mean this, KJ, I feel honored to know that we started from youngins. And I saw what kind of human being you were. I didn't know how great you would become. None of that. This and when it comes to my brothers and my good friends, I didn't know how great y'all would become. But what I did know is the greatness in your character. Man. I love that. I love that. Man. That is beautiful to me. When I see it every day. You know, Damon and Ja'Cory is personal to me because the three of us was always participating in the struggle. We had both our parents, but when it came to money, it was an issue. But the thing about it is the simple fact that we always were able to hold on to each other, hold on to our mother and father. And it kept us grounded as human beings. And I'm so grateful to that. And it's God's honest truth. So I'm going to let y'all, we can move on to the questions that, let me just say that I posed a question on Facebook and I asked the people that I'm friends with, if you guys have a question for us on Strong Perspective Podcast, have a question for us to address, let us know. We had 4 individuals throw some questions out there, and my brothers agreed to address these questions. Is there anything, Damon, that you want to say real quick before we move on to the questions?
We can get
Before
to
you're
the
after
question.
him.
We
Huh?
can get to the question, man. Because when you read them to me, man, it's very interesting. I think we need to address them because they send those to us for a reason.
Okay,
They want to hear our opinion.
Jaquari.
Let's get into it, man.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give everybody the credit for the question. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. This might be the episode and it becomes viral. And I want these names to ring out. So first question I'm asking is from Ron Drick Johnson. Ron wants to know, and thank you for the question, Ron. What can we do to help the youth be successful, in your opinion? And we'll start with you, Jaquari. What can we do to help the youth be successful, in our opinion?
Well, I mean, honesty, man. Honesty would be, you know, our honesty from us would take them a long way, man. I mean, just
What do you mean by
making.
honesty?
I mean, I work, and I hate to keep talking, going back to my job and everything, but that's basically what I do. I watch YouTube and work, man. That's all I do. But a lot of them would tell you, man, that they find it hard to listen to a person who hasn't been in similar situations, similar hardships. If you ain't ever been locked up before, if you ain't never had to hustle before, if you ain't never, slept in a cold house in the winter before, then I can't really. Okay, yeah, well, a lot of us have, bro. A lot of us have, and not just on one or two occasions. A lot of us have experienced real traumatic hardships throughout our lives, man. But at this point, we've moved on, or we like to think that we moved on, man, and we trying to find positivity and success, in whatever whatever time we have remaining. So if I give you examples of the things that I've been through, that's me trying to find a connection, man. I'm not trying to out sorrow you, because the times are different. It's impossible to have, that's impossible. Hell, shit. When I was 17 years old, gas was what, $1.59.
I
And
remember those days.
yeah, and motherfuckers was outraged.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
You know,
still had to coast to the gas station out of gas.
yeah. You know how many people I know who stopped smoking cigarettes when they started charging $2.50 a pack. Them some bitches
You
is like $7, $8 a pack now, man.
let me say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jaquari. Let me say, you brought up cigarettes. Do you understand? I bought my wife 2 packs of cigarettes. I'm in the city of Philadelphia, and just 2 packs of cigarettes. Do you understand that I paid $32 for 2 packs of cigarettes?
What?
Bro,
Somebody price gouging, man.
bro, let
No,
me
no,
let
no,
me
no,
explain
no,
this to
sir.
you. Let me
No,
explain
no,
to you.
no, Fluke. Fluke. No,
Listen,
sir.
listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen
No.
to
My
what I'm
joints
saying
cost
to you.
like eight
Do you
fifty,
not
860.
understand? Do you not understand that is the biggest deterrent when it comes to not smoking?
Should be.
I listen. I might be $1 off. I think I bought a drink, but you understand something, bro? I paid $32, so they were at least $12 a piece.
Hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? Now the city of Philadelphia got taxes on drinks and certain other things, right? Because they're trying to keep the city together, whatever. I get that. But it is outrageous. How it's outrageous to pay $8 for a pack of cigarettes. So I'm saying this. I've been around smokers my whole life, so I'm not browbeating. You know what I'm saying? But I would be nicotine fucking free. You understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Corey. Go ahead and finish, bro.
Yeah, I was just saying. I mean, it's our honesty, man, would take our kids a long way, man. And not, and like I said, man, God forbid that I would ever try to get into a pissing contest with with a young person about how their hardship was no worse or no better than mine or whatever. That's not the point. The point is, like, man, like there's connection there, man. There's connection there. If we both shaking hands, man, we both got to reach our arms out. That's what it boils down to.
That's real. That's real. I'm gonna repeat the question to you, Damon. What can we do to help the youth be more successful?
First of all, I'm not going to ignore your emotions and what you're going through. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to ignore that because, first of all, it's going to fall on deaf ears. You know what I'm saying? If a person talking about their experience, especially trauma, they're going to talk about it with somebody that they trust, and then you're talking about yourself, and you're not respecting what they're going through, it's falling on deaf ears, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's an emotional situation. It's what it is. Now, do you think that young person, man, can rationalize, man, and come to a positive conclusion? Yeah, but they have to evaluate. They have to make an assessment of their lives, and they have to evaluate and say, you know what, this shit ain't working for me. This bad attitude, it's not working for me. I need to figure out another way. How do you keep that attention? You be like, hey man, I understand you're going through some shit right now, and I don't think it's not the good time for me to give you my opinion or whatever. So if you choose to get back with me, then we'll chop it up. You know what I'm saying? But if a person is going through some stressful shit, giving them the option to make a choice is very pivotal, man. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. You never deal with anybody, I don't care what age they are, on an emotional level, because they're already in their mind, understand, be it right or wrong, they understand how to feed that emotion, how to feed that anger, and whatever they're experiencing and going through. You know what I'm saying? That's why most therapists ask questions and they don't give definitive answers.
I agree with that. And plus, man, like really 16 or 65, trying to get a person to adjust their mindset, man, is more than a notion, because rarely do you find a person who would admit to their flaws. You spend a lot of time, at 16 and 65, you spend a lot of time cultivating the person that you are, man. You think, yeah, this is what I need to do to be successful in whatever environment I'm in. But the thing is, okay, yeah, if you're a goon, then you can be successful in environments where it's appropriate for you to be a goon. Okay, but you can't necessarily be a goon in the boardroom. You can't be a goon in the classroom. So I mean, you got to be fluid, man. You got to be versatile. You got to know when to pull your pants up and tuck your shirt in and buckle down and do the work.
I can visualize you experiencing that with like 15 different people on the course of a day, Jakar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why I never say that. I never tell a kid, man, that you need to change. You need to change the whole complete person. It's impossible, because that's gonna close his ears right there.
You know what though? I get caught up on the responsibility, man. I mean, I get it. You guys made a great point, and I'm not going against your point. But the one thing that I feel people, youngins, even old heads, man, miss the point is, yo, take accountability, especially when we know you know right or wrong. Yo, you make that choice to do what you're doing. I get that. But do not come to me and tell me that your life was fucked up. That's why you shot up the whole crib. You feel what I'm saying? Don't do that. That's insulting to me. You want to know
That's
why?
because
Let me just say this. You want to know why? Because the three of us lived that fucking kind of life. We saw that. You understand? And we saw the both choices. Either you do it or you don't do it. We saw them. See, that's what I'm blessed about. I'm going to say this, Damon, then you go ahead. What I'm blessed about is this. I saw the choices, and I saw the outcome of both because I was looking for it. You feel what I'm saying? Go ahead, Damon.
But here's an analogy, man. You got cats, man, who come from a poor environment or whatever, and they join the military, right? And the military teach them what they teach them. You know what I'm saying? And they hold on to the pride of that because somebody's teaching them something.
Right.
Somebody's letting them know that they matter.
They
And
mean
what
something. Yes,
and what they do means something in the world.
Yes,
right? But then they go to war and they come home, and a lot of cats is committing suicide. You know what I'm saying? At an alarming rate. You know what I'm saying? Anybody, be it in the hood or being in the military, the one thing that they have to be responsible for is their humanity. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much propaganda is fed to a person, man, be it in the streets, gangs, or military, or whatever, your humanity kicks in and you see the atrocities that's happening around you or the ones that you committed yourself. And you have to live with that. And I think that the one thing that we don't do, we don't teach our young people how to be human and recognize that they matter and they have purpose. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't always have to be based on a flag that you praise or, you know what I'm saying, or gang that you're involved with. You know what I'm saying? You're an individual and you are special. You know what I'm saying? And the things that you are asked to do, be it governmental or street shit, might not coincide with what you're trying to be as a human being. You know what I'm saying? And then a whole lot of conflict comes in that. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got people, you got ex-military living on the street because they cannot address the atrocities and the things that they saw.
Well, Damon, let me say this to you, man. What if I said to you that their individuality or the stock that they put into their individuality only adds to their greater sense of entitlement, man? How would you address that?
Well, you know what? When it comes to entitlement, that's something else. That's somebody who think they believe what they believe. You know what I'm saying?
You don't think some of that is rooted in the person's individuality?
I think that's a person being guided.
I think it's a little of both, man. I think both are right.
I'm just talking about my own personal.
You know what I'm saying? You're getting taught that, but then it's up to the individual to really believe that shit.
Right, but here's the one thing, man, that you have to recognize, man. You can be for less of a better phrase, tricked into your humanity and what you think is righteous. You can be tricked into that shit. But your own personal experiences, a person that does harm to somebody because it was done to them. Think about that for a minute. somebody that does harm to somebody because it was done to him, isn't that losing your humanity? Because what are you dismissing? Your hurt, your pain, your sorrow.
I'm saying, is it losing humanity, or is it? I'm just asking this question: is it losing humanity, or is it taking the quick shit to think that you're trying to satisfy? You're trying to throw a band-aid on your own hurt shit.
Yeah, but guess what? Every human being experiences, man, hurt, pain, and disappointment. Everybody does.
But some of us get more than others, though. That's my point. I'm trying to
make.
In regards to that, man, in regards to a person losing their humanity, man, I would say that I don't see it as a person losing their humanity. I would see that person and his actions, maybe believing that he might be aligning with humanity in some sort of skewed way.
Yeah, you're speaking about anger.
No, the statement you made about what it was done to me, so I'm gonna do it to somebody else.
Right, anger, disappointment. Hey, you know what? That's you convince yourself that this is how the world is, so I'm going to play the game better than how it was played to me. That's how Hitler came into play. You know what I'm saying? Seeing your fellow man as something less than yourself because you were treated less than you felt you deserved. So that's how propaganda works. That's how fascism works.
Right.
They speak to your weaknesses, man.
They do.
Your experience.
What the fuck you going through?
Right. And here's the thing.
Trying to find somebody to blame for it. Yes, sir.
Right. And here's the thing. You have a choice to say, if you go through some tragic trauma type situation, you say, man, I hope nobody experiences this like I experienced because it was traumatic to me.
But see, that's traumatic to me. Hey, Damon, that's selflessness, though. You know but do you think? Let me ask you this question: do you think human beings are more selfish or selflessness? Which one do you think we're more of?
I think that, man, if you watch a child growing up, man, they do not have the same animosities, man. Their experience, their environment dictate and drive them to a certain point. If you are callous and don't give a shit, it's because you were treated that way. You feel what I'm saying? And then
that's not always the case, though, right?
Yeah, well, mostly it is. Then you come up with the phrases charge you to the game.
I got
you. And you justify it by saying, hey, you saw me coming. How come you didn't do better? How come you didn't defend yourself? And I think when you come over,
I'm sorry, that's some funny shit right there. Why didn't you defend yourself?
Yeah, but isn't that how the world operates now?
Yeah,
it's absolutely how the world operates, man.
That's how it operates. That's why this shit is funny.
Yeah. If you were to ask a group of young people nowadays, man, like if you was like walking behind somebody, if you was walking behind a guy and his wallet fell out of his pocket, would you give it back to him?
I would because I don't want it to happen to me.
Yeah,
because my wallet means something.
Because
but did you learn that? Did you learn that through experience, or would you just give it back because that's the right thing to do?
I think it's both.
I think, man, if you don't know any better, then you see it as an opportunity.
No, he asking you what you would do.
What I would do? I've done it before.
I've done it before too. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and gave money back. Yeah. I've done it before.
But overall, after I posed the question and got everybody's answer, and everybody's answers seemed to align, and I said, well, are you forgetting the fact that this wallet didn't belong to you in the first place? You know, so whether you see it as an opportunity or a blessing from God, it's skewed thinking because you didn't earn whatever the contents of that wallet is. It's not yours.
Hey, Jaquar, it's not a blessing for God when there's a name on the ID.
You'd be
Come on,
surprised. You'd be surprised.
stop playing.
You'd be surprised about some of the things that I heard about why people rap about
People use that rationale, bro.
why
You're
people
right.
rationalize fuckery, man.
Right.
Seriously.
You are absolutely right.
You know, so it ain't my fault. Strong. They shouldn't have left the car door unlocked.
Hey man,
No, I'm saying,
my kids ain't had no McDonald's in a month. I found a wallet. Now they can eat McDonald's. It's like, first of all, McDonald's is bad for your ass. Number one. Why ain't you? If you found a wallet, why don't you go get some snap beans and some black eyed peas? What up, man?
Yeah, after you done, Damon, we're gonna go to William Scarborough.
I'm just simply saying, man, that there are very few people, man, who don't know and understand tragedy and struggle and all that stuff. They're literally making a choice to do unto others that was done unto them.
Okay. All right. Real quick. You know what I mean? Real quick. I want you both to answer this because what you just said, Damon.
Oh, go ahead.
People will understand tragedy, right? Does that make them experts? Or does that make them human beings who really don't know how to handle the shit? We'll go with you, Damon.
Obviously, it makes them human beings, but what they don't get,
I asked the question. Does it make them experts because they went through a tragic situation, or, like you said, are they human beings and they're gonna respond in the way that they see shit?
No, it don't make them experts, man. It make them human, and human beings are flawed, man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They are flawed, and they speak and they do actions and speak against themselves because it was done to them.
Gotcha. Jaquar.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make them experts at all, man. I mean,
yeah. Damon got to go. You know.
Yeah.
He got to go and pay attention to his refrigerator. But go ahead.
Yeah, it doesn't make them experts at all, man, because no matter how many times you experience tragedy, man, it always burns the same. So as far as, you know, a person trying to explain how to navigate those situations, you know, that shit is relative. You know?
Well, relative to a point, Joe Jaquar.
No, it's relative, man, because because Dr. Spock, you know, Dr. Spock, you ever heard of Dr. Spock? The person who wrote the books on child behavior.
Yeah.
You know they didn't have any kids, right?
I know that.
So you can speak. You can speak on something from the point of view of expertise, man.
But also you can speak on something, and you could be in that situation and not know what the hell you're talking about because you're only speaking from your point of view. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's my point more than anything. But let me ask you this question, and I want you to get your answer in before Damon come back. Then we can concentrate on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
William Scarborough. He was basic with it. Big Bill, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Big Bill says, what is and what can we do about black on black crime? I'll let that marinate a little bit, Jaquar.
You know what?
Hey, Damon, did you hear what I said? Did you hear the question?
You said what we do about black on black crime, right?
All right, I'm gonna let that marinate on you too. So basically, I'm going. Let me just talk about it. Everybody know, most people know that follow us that I've been in law enforcement for 30-something years, right? I'm retired. So understanding that when I went into law enforcement, it wasn't voluntarily. It was because I had a family that had the support, that I loved, and I had it, and this opportunity came to me. So when I looked at how things were and understanding, I looked at it from a humanistic point of view. I am not going to let you off because you're a black man. And your history, and I'm assuming your history is this and that, right? No. I'm looking at at the degree of what you did and how you did it. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because I respect the severity of crime. Now, if you wanted to question my blackness, fuck you. Because what I do for a living is I question crime. You feel what I'm saying? So if I decide that I'm going to charge you, it has nothing to do with because you black. It has nothing to do with because it's a particular crime. No, it has something to do with a particular crime. But my thing is understanding my power and where I was going with it. Now I'm wandering a little bit, but I want y'all to understand what I'm saying. I want you to understand that we get caught up on black and white when it comes to black people, socialization, crime, poverty. We get caught up on it because we get conditioned to think only one way. But what I did, because I had the kind of parents that helped me to understand what it is to be a part of a community. What it is to be a part of a community. My parents taught me to understand, indirectly to understand what my job was. My job was to stop crime, to stop people from being uncomfortable by living their fucking life. Right? And that's how I lived it. Everybody who's worked with me, my brothers understand where I'm coming from. Everybody who's worked with me, where I came from. I enjoy holding people accountable for the fucked up stuff that they do. But when you start going from the lesser part of the spectrum, I'll be able to work. I was able to work with you because it's about living. It's about living.
No. Let me ask you a question. What do you mean by the lesser part of the spectrum? What do you mean by that?
All right, let me put it like this. I grew up off the marijuana culture that was making movies about it, man. Late 70s, early 80s. They was making movies about it. Wake and bake. All this shit, right? Now all of a sudden, you want me to lock a motherfucker up because he got a joint in the car? When I can scratch off a citation where he can come down on his own? You see what I'm saying? I saw the difference in it. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
You had to follow the rule of law, man. You know.
I just told you what the rule of law was.
I'm saying you.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a delicate balance, though. You know what I'm saying that you had to.
I understood
decide.
The balance. I understood the balance.
I have.
You know why? The only reason why I understood the balance was this, brother. This is what I'm saying to you. Simple fact that I understood everything that I was required to do. You understand what I'm saying to you? When you catch somebody with less than a half an ounce of weed, right? You can make the decision to arrest them people, right? I'm giving you a scenario. You can make the decision to arrest them on the spot because it's a misdemeanor but you also have the discretion to write them a citation because it's less than the amount that is a felony or not amount. Period. Now, you're putting them into the system, but you're not putting them in the system where you're taking them downtown in the handcuff when you don't have to. That's all I'm saying to you. I understood what my requirement, what I was about. I was not trying to save a motherfucker. All I was doing what was required for me to make my job easier and make the people that I dealt with smoother. Period. That's all. Now let's get back to the question. Because you weren't here, it came back to black on black crime. What's your opinion about black on black crime, man?
Well, based on everything that you said, do y'all hear echo, man?
Bro, we're gonna deal with it. But look, do you have your earphones plugged in?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened.
But look,
as long as y'all understand, hear me.
Listen what I'm saying to you. We can hear you. We can understand. Give us your opinion, because that's all I'm interested in.
Here's the thing, man, that I struggle with, man. Based on everything that you just said, man, you're doing a job and you're doing it as pertains to what's required of you and to get home safe to your family. I totally get all that. The problem lies when you see other people who are not treated the same way. You see what I'm saying? They're not held to the same standard, and therein lies the problem. Now, if you stop somebody and they got weed in the car, you're going to follow protocol, right? But does that include everybody? Somebody,
everybody. That was
okay.
me.
How many people?
Anybody else? It had to do with me.
Well, that's you holding integrity on your job, man, and being consistent.
Okay.
That's what that is, and that's you. I'm saying you was built for that. But when you see somebody else that don't look like you being treated different, you know what I'm saying? Therein lies the problem. That's what people say. Well, hold on, man. This man got stopped with the same amount of stuff, and he has to go through this process and all that stuff. But this person who don't look like him get a pass.
Let me interrupt you just for a quick second. I want your response. First and foremost, what I believe in is the fact that if you there's no transparent houses built in this country. Meaning there's no glass house, right? So you can sit in your house and you can smoke a pound of fucking weed if you want to, right? And get on the road if you can do it, if you can traverse getting on the road.
I see what you're saying.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
It
has nothing to do with
you responsible for your actions.
And here's the thing. It's been many times that I've stopped people. Like, yo, you smell like loud. I was parked 50 feet from you, and I smelled nothing but loud marijuana. Right? Yo, where you coming from? I'm coming from the house. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? So you telling me that you couldn't take the 5 minutes to smoke this shit before you got in your car? See, that's how I look at things. And it has nothing to do with judgment. It's like, come on, man, it's common sense. You know what I mean? That's all. It has nothing to do with, yo, you dumb for this. No, bro, come on, man. I stopped a couple, right? And then we're gonna go on, we're gonna get back on the situation. I stopped a couple. And what's so crazy about it, I was going to a little side gig, a football game, right? And it was an off-duty Raleigh police officer. Hey, man, listen, I was at the stoplight and I saw them smoking weed, blah, 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 right? And I pulled him. And then this guy came back to me like, you got him? And he left, right? So I'll go up to the car, and it was a brother and sister. And the sister was driving. I said, hey, what? And I'm going to be frank, this is what I said to him. What the fuck? I said, where y'all coming from? I'm coming from the house. So you coming from the fucking house, and you got somebody who's sitting at a light seeing your girl roll a motherfucking joint to smoke. I said, sir, does that make sense to you? I said, does it make sense? And listen, the way I'm talking is animated because that's how I was. Does it make sense when you had a house that nobody could ever see through, that you could sit there and smoke, and you know what they were doing? Going to the school to pick up their daughter.
It was bringing drugs on school property.
But my point is, smoke your shit at your fucking house and get in your car. Now, when your car is searched, there's nothing there because you left it at the house. That's all.
Well, nobody can argue that point, man. They got caught dirty.
That's my point. That's my point, dog. It had nothing to do with anything else. But Jaquar, black on black crime, man.
Well,
Come on, let's get into this. And what's your point?
To me, man, black on black crime, white on white crime, etc. all falls under the freaking umbrella of proximity, man. How many?
Good point.
How many times have you two gentlemen ever had a conversation with anybody or heard anybody say that, yeah, this black dude went out and he was running around specifically looking for other black people to rob? That's the funky side of this whole scenario that really fucks me up. Do I see black on black crime as a damn near insurmountable issue? I absolutely do. But we don't hate each other.
Proximity, like you said.
Proximity is I think proximity is the number one culprit in all of our situations, everybody's situation. I mean, we can we do better as a community, man? In terms of problem solving, and in terms of economic solutions to reasons why people go out and do fuck shit. Yeah, we absolutely can.
Yes.
But
yes.
we need to get better control of that particular narrative, man. I mean, we're not going out and hunting other black people. That's it. That's my opinion, man.
Damon.
Black on black crime, man, happens, man. It just does, man. Not trying to get into the weeds of how a person think. People think how the hell they think. You know what I'm saying? And things happen. I think that we as black people, our shit get highlighted, man. You know what I'm saying? Isn't it ironic, man, how people outside of us can point to the things that we do to each other, but capitalize on the things that we did for them to have rights and shit. You know what I'm saying? But the only conclusion that they come to is that y'all foul, y'all messed up, y'all not righteous. But you benefiting from the shit that we march for. You know what I'm saying? So what is your stance, man? You choose to see the worst of us, or do you choose to see the things that we did where everybody benefits from? You know what I'm saying? Don't sit around and talk to me about, hey man, reverse discrimination, but your wife is benefiting from the marches that we did, that our ancestors and our mothers and fathers and uncles and whatever dealt with. You benefiting from it, but you want to label. Why is that? Why do you come to that conclusion? It's because it's not predicated on you seeing our righteousness. It's predicated on, you know what? These people got too much power and they can make change. But because what it is that we believe about ourselves, we have to make sure we can judge somebody that's less than us. That's insecurity. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? With this whole Palestine-Israel thing, people trying not to get canceled, they don't want to speak about it, all that stuff. And you know what I say? You know what I think, what I believe? Y'all deal with that shit, man, so we can deal with the Congo, with the Congolese. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all talking about 14, 15, 16,000 people being killed. We're talking about 4, 5, 6 million people being killed since the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So my mindset is, hey, my humanity is there. I respect and understand what a person is going through because that's our legacy. We understand what it is to be oppressed. We get it. You know what I'm saying? But when you think about it in its rationale, you think about it, you say, okay, we understand that Israel is doing what they're doing. And the Palestinians did what they did. But can y'all come to a resolution so we can focus on millions of people dying in the Congo? Can we focus on that? Because when I look at it, because of my humanity, I can sympathize with how you feel and what you're going through. But at the same time, being able to walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, what I am focused on, the people that look like me, is never going to be addressed because y'all own this. And this over here has been happening for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be sympathetic in terms of my humanity. I'm going to be sympathetic towards anybody that's being oppressed. But what about those who's been forgotten? A man set himself on fire just to get attention in the Congo. And he did that because he saw the attention that the Palestinians was getting. He was like, what about us? Well, in my despair and whatever, I'm going to set myself on fire just so somebody will pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? So me as a black person, as an so-called African American, you ask me, man, well, what do you think about this? Man, can y'all come to a resolution, man, so we can put a finger on things that's important to me, that makes sense? Because I see a certain segment in this world that's being manipulated, destroyed, all those things. And a man has to set himself on fire just to say, hey, man, I'm not trying to take over y'all stuff. I'm not trying to be any of this, man, but I'm going to burn myself alive, man, so y'all can at least think about it.
Okay. Shaquari.
I answer first.
I got it, but I thought you had a rebuttal.
Mm.
Okay. Let us do this. Damon threw in the Palestinian thing. Do you have anything that you have to say about Israel and Palestine's accord?
I don't.
Okay. So let's take it to Malika Harris. Now, the last thing had to do with Danny Brown Jr., our cousin, young man, about his thing, friend of the show. So that was the last thing, Israel and Palestine. And Damon, you were very eloquent in how you answered that. Thank you. Malika Harris has to do with some on the entertainment front. Damon wasn't aware of what this happened with T.I. and his son and his wife. And I'll just give you a little basic background. I believe Jaquari understood and saw a little bit of it. But basically what happened was T.I., the rapper, was at an Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints game. And basically it was they was honoring 50 years of hip hop and the Atlanta folks version of it. So when they get there, the young man, I forget his name, don't go at me, but the young man King was pro New Orleans Saints. So he decided that was his team. So he was on that thing like that. And the Atlanta folks was on his head about it, right? So somebody he had a discussion with was Adam. And T.I. and his wife, Tiny, chimed in on what the man was saying. And King got upset. But the thing about it is King got upset, like Tiny and T.I. was like, hell, hold on. You are suburban. You grew up in the suburbs. You didn't have no action. You didn't walk down. You didn't walk out the house with action going on. King was like, well, look, I was going to my auntie house. I was begging to go into auntie or grandma. Don't get me wrong.
Grant.
I was going to her house. Yeah, you did. T.I. said you did cry to go over there all the time. But look, you grew up. You were rich. You grew up around riches. But King was like, yo, I went to the hood and blah blah blah, da 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 da. And the thing about it was, my opinion, he wanted to be like his dad, or his dad rap music. You feel what I'm saying? He wanted to be that. So what ended up happening was, in a nutshell, they got in an altercation and his dad had to hem him up. Right? All in his chest. And if you see the video, what you hear is, you can't do shit with me. This is T.I. You can't do shit with me. You can't do this, blah, 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 blah. So they was going back and forth with it. So Malika Harris wants to know what's your opinion about it. And there's other questions afterward, but the initial question is, what are you guys' opinion about it? Jaquari, we'll go with you.
Well, T.I. is in a rough spot because he's in a rough spot because it's national. It's I don't know if it's national television, but it's social media. Everybody's seeing what was going on and everything, and situations like that. It would surprise me if that wasn't the first time they had that particular clash. But the son felt a little more comfortable since they were in public.
Okay.
To kind of express himself, and it got a little too good to him, and things just got out of hand. But as far as T.I.'s reaction to it, I mean, you can't. I'd be hard pressed. I think you'd be hard pressed to show me an example of a son who don't at some at some point press his dad. I mean,
It happens, don't it?
it definitely
does.
happens. It definitely
It
happens.
does.
You know, as far as him putting his hands on him. I mean, you know, you start pissing on trees, you got to be able to protect those trees too.
No doubt.
You know, so
No doubt.
I mean,
Damon.
I don't feel he did anything wrong.
No doubt. Damon.
What the hell was T.I. supposed to do, man?
Good point.
What was he supposed to do?
He tried to reel him back in several times. That I heard. I've seen it. He tried to pull him back.
He tried. There's no doubt.
A man recognized that, man. You know what I'm saying? I understand that, you know, the embarrassment and whatever, man. You know, I like T.I. in that, because the reason why I like T.I. is because he exposed himself, man. You know what I'm saying? He let the world into his family. What his son did, man, I wish it was private, but I have no answers for him. I don't know how he overcome that shit, man. He had to check his son in front of the world, bro.
He did.
How the hell do you reconcile the relationship, man?
I think
How you do that?
What helped him is his son is spoiled. So he depends a lot on T.I. and his wife money. But go ahead.
Bro, man, the one thing, man, that should never happen, man, is that you expose your personal family like that.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
How do you bounce back from that? You can't. You know what I'm saying? Because people are going to think how they think and how they feel. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be on both sides of it. It's going to be on both sides of it. His son, man, his son needs therapy, man. You don't expose your daddy like that. You don't. You do that in private, and that's man to man shit. And then you try to reconcile and deal with it in that situation, in that vein, man. But in front of the world, that young man, no, people can tell me I'm right or wrong or whatever, but that young man should never have to challenge his daddy, man, in front of the fucking world, bro. Excuse my language. Ever.
I agree with you, man. I mean, just off the simple fact that hell, what was it? 4, 5, 6 months ago, he bumping heads. T.I. bumping heads with Lil Boosie, about
I don't know, bro.
Who was that?
About his son, yeah.
Yeah, Lil Boosie, hell, and Charleston White about his son.
Yeah.
T.I. he went to bat for his son. He stood for his son. Everybody was asking why. You know what's up with the parenting? Why he don't check his son? You know, he talking to grown men like that. That young man was 18. I don't know. Well, I imagine he's 18 now, but he made moves like he was a grown man when all that stuff happened. And he didn't say any, you know, he argued and went back and forth, you know, and said slick shit to him. But as far as defense, T.I. stepped up to defend his son.
He did. You know why?
With no questions.
His son, T.I. stepped up to defend his son because his son did not understand the repercussions. It has nothing to do with the likes and followings or whatever the fuck they was talking about.
He has to deal with that shit now.
Absolutely.
How the hell, man? That is so fucked up, man. And I, you know, I'm not saying that in judgment. I'm saying that because a man and his son should never have to deal with that type of situation as it transpired, as it happened.
Not in public at all.
At all, dog. No matter what conclusion they come to, they can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But dude, I cannot imagine my son feeling comfortable enough to front me off like that, dude, even if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? Whatever he's trying to prove is it going to affect him?
That's real.
My overall point is, hell, like as you said, Damon, even if I am wrong, the simple fact that, I stood with him through what probably had to be the roughest time in his life
Yes,
up to this
sir.
point,
Yes, sir.
I kind of expect the same loyalty. Now, who's it going to be hard? Who's it going to be harder to bounce back for? For is it going to be harder for Ti to bounce back? I don't see any tarnish on him. I don't see any. I don't see.
You don't see
No,
how it affects T.I.?
not no. I don't see it affecting him negatively. No.
To the point, okay, you know why, Ja'Cory? Because he was lucky. He was lucky because the majority of motherfuckers who was watching that shit, they was on that father-son shit. You know what I'm saying? But see, the thing about it is T.I. raised that boy. He raised them to be a certain way.
And that is the key point, bro.
And he raised them to be a certain way. And
He
see,
raised
that's the
that
thing.
dude, man.
Now he's like, yo, he's like, T.I. like, man, what the fuck is you doing? Because common sense is ruling the day. But the thing about it is, because you was well off, and sometimes, and then you gotta think about it. King was raised off of fucking reality shows, man. That's the key.
I ain't trying to disrespect the man's son, but King on some bullshit. You do not check your daddy and challenge your daddy, man.
He don't know level, no better because he was raised off of reality. He think that shit is cool.
That shit is not cool, bro.
You see it all the time, and then you got the damn, you got the fucking executive producers. Like, yo, challenge your father on this. You know what I'm saying? Whispering in his ear. And,
bro, I can't even imagine that shit. I don't even know if that's true, a true statement, bro. I can't even imagine that shit. My son would never do no shit like that, man.
But that's my point, though. That's my point. I'm just throwing it out there. We don't know. That's all.
That shit is not cool, dog. That shit is not. And this is the first I'm hearing that shit, dude. You was checking your dad in front of the world, nigga?
No.
Really?
Look, it's video. You don't see the actual video, but you hear like you hear them tussling. You hear them tussling over some.
They have to figure out. They have to figure out
shit
how
at
to
a fucking football game.
They have to figure out how to overcome that shit, bro.
They did. You want to know why? Because you want to know why? Because he's a spoiled child, and he know his dad don't. When the bottom line, when the cameras ain't rolling, he know his dad don't take no shit from him with that bullshit. You know what I mean?
He had to put his hands on his son because his son got a loud mouth. Fuck.
But look,
that shit is not cool, man.
But look, we addressed every question that everybody asked, which I'm happy we did, and you guys made great answers, and it was sincere, the whole nine. So, Damon, you and I talked about something about what we should do at the end, and I'm trying to remember. Do you remember?
Yeah.
What we were talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. I'm listening.
It's all about asking the question, man. Things that matter.
Asking the question. Yeah.
Right.
Elaborate what you mean by asking the question.
What I mean by that is, man, as it pertains to T.I. or the Palestinians or whoever, man, it's not about canceling ourselves, but if you have a legitimate question to ask, I think it's okay to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? I spoke to y'all in my little segment about the Palestinians and the Israelis. They can't cancel me because my humanity speaks to both sides of the situation. It just does. And here is the thing that matters most. The reason why I am able to see both sides of, Israelis and Palestinians because the Congo and the Congolese losing millions of people. Where do you find your humanity, man? Collective destruction of a people. How do you get to the point where you're comfortable with that? And when you look over the whole landscape of the world that we live in, man, there are people who are being subject to genocide. And we choose to ignore. We only choose to pay attention to the things that we feel that matters, man. But when it comes to humanity, what matters, man, is if you look at the Congolese or the Congo, they've been dying since the early 90s. And it's being ignored. So I asked the question, how do we deal with the Palestinians and the Israelis to the point where we can get to the Congolese people? It's not me making a choice or picking a side. I want y'all to deal with y'all conflict, what y'all deem important, so we can get to the point where I see where the attention is needed. Let's deal with that.
Okay.
I'm not questioning you and what you decide. Make a decision so we can get to these people in the Congo.
All right, so
and we deal with humanity.
So Ja'Cory, what I was talking about, Damon brought up a great concept, is to ask a question of our listeners as we exit. You see what I'm saying? You understand what I'm talking about? So do you have a question that you want to throw out there into the next episode for our listeners before we step out of here? Damon's had to do a lot with the Palestinians and the Israelis.
Mm-hmm. Well, in regards to Bill's question, I mean, I'd really like our listeners to honestly give their input on what they would do to address black on black crime. You know, I mean, there's a lot of times where, you know, people, you know, align with, you know, societal opinions about law and order or whatever, but there's also those times where, you know, especially, you know, we as a black community believe that a motherfucker deserves to be face punched.
Okay.
You know, motherfuckers deserve the bad shit that happens to them. You know, can you exist in a space where you have those opinions? You know, where we do need to do better as a community to keep each other safe, but when a motherfucker needs to be handled, he needs to be handled. How can you operate with those two mindsets at the same time?
No doubt. Okay. Okay. My question is, and it chimes into what Ja'Cory, both you guys are saying. How much are we willing to give up as individuals for change in our community? How much are we willing to give up as individuals for change in our community? And that's basically what I have. We on the second half of on an hour. I think that this is a great episode, guys. I'm gonna ask you guys to give us your last thoughts before we move on and put this in the can. We're gonna start with you, Damon.
You can't dismiss, man, a person of my age, man. I see things, man. What I struggle with is how to differentiate between what really matters. And what matters to me is humanity, man. One thing does not overshadow the other. If you're about humanity, be about the humanity over the whole globe. You don't send billions of dollars in this space because it benefits you, because you want to be present in that situation. If you're about humanity, you know what I'm saying, you figure out how to, you know what I'm saying, make things what we aspire as Americans: democracy, freedom, all that stuff. People having the ability to eat, feed their children. It is a fucking atrocity. Excuse my language, but this is an atrocity for a woman in the Sudan to walk 100 miles just to give her child aid. And you choose to dismiss that because it doesn't fall into your political spectrum or whatever. If you're about humanity, then be about that. And you deal with it where it lies, where it is. Being at war, giving aid to a country that is at war is an easy thing to do because we got all these arsenals, man, how to kill a motherfucker. But how do you get the respect and the love from the world, man? Is it because of a military thing, or is it because, man, you're a human being and you're giving aid to where it's needed? And there are conflicts that's been happening that's been longer than the Israeli-Palestinian shit. And people are dying and setting themselves on fire just to get attention. And people being exploited. Don't act like you all about humanity and democracy and you ignore one situation because it doesn't benefit you. There are those of us who is paying true attention to it. We see and we understand what's going on, and that's why half of the population in the country of the United States don't vote.
All right.
Okay. All right. I understand what you're saying, brother. Quarry, doing you.
Hey, man, I enjoyed this episode. Very good questions, very good responses. Damon, Keith, insightful input, man. It's always a pleasure. You know, I learned some things, man, and I'm looking forward to the next time. I love y'all, man. Peace.
Love y'all too, man. Great episode, great answers. And stay on as we end this live. This Strong Perspective Podcast. Go like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your people. Even if y'all got to chop our shit up to get the most meaningful thing that you have in our episode, do what you're going to do. Because I'm telling you now, if you bullshit and you slow-footed and you slow walk, and then all of a sudden later on you're like, yo, I was with them. I knew they was going to do it. You understand what I'm saying? That's some bullshit, but it is what it is. I ain't going to take it personal because we do this because we have fun. But it's Strong Perspective Podcast. Go like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And be looking for us. And we out.
Peace.
Peace.